car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Yes, indeed. This is the Frontier Motors Show here on Talk at 10 on News Talk 1370 WCOA. Glad to have you with us. Perhaps you have a question for Ivan Streckel, who is the owner of Frontier Motors. That question normally revolves around the price of a car or a truck or an SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in. If that be the case, you're in luck because he is here, and you can be too, at least vicariously. Give us a call, 478-3116, 478-3116, and I will connect you with Ivan Streckel. How about that? In the meantime, let's welcome him to the microphone. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don. Thanks so much for the introduction. And this is another one of our double format shows. We are on 1370 Talk Radio. We've been doing this show on Talk Radio going on 20 years now. And we also tape record this or videotape this for our Blab TV customers on satellite and cable. So if you're watching this on TV, it probably isn't a live show. We videotape this show twice a month. And what we do with this show is we tell people how Frontier Motors can help the people in the Pensacola area make sure that when they're in the car market that they get a good deal. And we do this whether you buy a vehicle from us or you buy from the competition, another car dealer or a private individual. So let's get started by talking about how we go about helping people get a good deal. Well, the first thing probably would be pricing. What is a certain car worth? And what we do at Frontier Motors is we take phone calls or we have people come in and they say, I found this car, my neighbor's selling my car, for example, and I would like to know what a good deal is. And we urge you not to tell us what they're asking because we don't want that to skew our opinion if it's a good deal or not. We don't want to make it seem like we're trying to get you to buy a car from us. So what we do is we use the black wholesale guidebooks, which I have in my hand right now. This is a black book that is now on, it's on the internet, so I don't really physically have to use the book anymore like we did in the old days. Plus, it's on a smartphone. We also use, and what this black book is, by the way, it's to compile all the data from the auction. So it's a wholesale book is what it is. What's going on through the auction is wholesale. Then we also have an NADA guidebook. It's actually a yellow book. We do not use the Kelly Blue Book or the Edmunds, which is what you find online. People sometimes ask us why we don't use those particular formats, and the reason we don't is because our credit unions and our banks in the Pensacola area use the NADA, and I want to make sure that it matches, so I don't tell you that if I use the Kelly Blue Book, it might be $500 high or $500 low, so we want to use the same ones that the bankers use, and that is the NADA guidebook. The other thing we can help you with is we also have the new car cost guides. When you look at Consumers Reports, which I do bring Consumers Reports with me. And on the back of every Consumers Report, they talk about how they can save you money by telling you what an invoice is on a particular new car. But it costs about $15 to get that invoice. Well, we subscribe to the new car cost guides, which are the invoices of every vehicle out there. So what I can do for you is tell you that if you're going to buy a brand new car, this is what the dealer pays for it. And of course, if you know what the dealer pays, it might help you in a timely way to negotiate yourself a good deal. If the dealer paid $25,000, give them a small or fair profit, and then you're done. So the only other thing that, of course, you would want to know is what should I get for my trade? And I think that's probably the biggest thing we bring to the table is we do free appraisals at Frontier Motors, and usually the appraisals that we do are for a couple of reasons. Well, three of the main reasons are, number one, you're going to buy a brand new car somewhere, so you want to know what your car would be worth on trade. Number two, you're going to sell your car yourself. So you would want to know what you should sell the vehicle for. And that might not be the same as the book value. And that's where reality comes in. And of course, number three would be, what would Frontier Motors buy that car for? And I buy somewhere between 8 to 15 vehicles a week from private individuals like yourself that might say, well, I really don't want to get scammed. I really don't want to put on Craigslist or eBay or AutoTrader, Cars.com, which are the biggest formats as far as where to put your car if you're going to sell it, where to advertise it. Most people, nothing against the News Journal, but there's not too many people that are advertising their vehicles in the print section of the News Journal anymore. I still find it ironic that some dealers still do advertising in the News Journal. But when you look through the News Journal, which I did on Sunday, there are a lot of ads in there still I didn't see one private ad. They were all from car dealerships. And I think that Craigslist has pretty much taken over that. But even when you go on Craigslist, the first 3 pages that you look at are what to be careful of about getting scammed. And that to me is a little nerve-wracking if you're going to have people come over to your house. And a lot of times they come past 7 o'clock when it's already dark out. And of course, they want to test drive your car and they want to negotiate. And a lot of times they want you to take a trade-in, or they want you to take payments and a small down payment, and they'll make payments to you. And of course, they also want you to warranty the vehicle. So what we do at Frontier Motors is we give you a one set price. I will buy your car for this. Now, if that's not enough, I'll normally pay a little bit more if you put it on consignment. Consignment means you drop the car off, I sell it for you, and you get paid when it's sold. And the reason I will pay you more money if we do that, because I don't have to tie up my cash. Therefore, let's say you have a $10,000 car, I can go out and buy a $10,000 car with my money, and I've got your car sitting there that maybe I'll give you $11,000 or $11,500 for instead of $10,000, because I don't have to tie up my money. Now, it still has to be a good deal for my prospective customer. And of course, the vehicle's got to be ready to go. But even if you've got a vehicle that you want to put on consignment, it has some issues, because I don't put any vehicle on our lot if it's got issues. In other words, if the brakes are bad, or if the power windows don't work, or you got a crack in the windshield, or the tires are bald, that car is not going in our lot. Now, that doesn't mean I can't do a consignment. We can recondition that vehicle for you. You just have to pay for the reconditioning. And hopefully, if the vehicle is reconditioned properly, you're going to get a little bit more money for it. And that leads me into a whole different subject when we talk about condition. You know, in the real estate world, they always talk about location. Well, people aren't too much worried about where your car is located. People will travel for a good condition car. And even when I look at my auction reports and I can plug in, let's say I plug in a 2015 Chevy New Body Style Impala, there is a $6,000 spread, if it's a 15, between the low and the high. And most of the spread is because of the condition of the car. If you have one in bad condition, it's going to go way cheaper. Now, I always talk about the fact that there's a lot of dealerships that buy the bad condition cars on purpose. Now, why would they do that? Well, they do it for advertising purposes. If they buy a car that's somewhat of a rat, it's got dings and scrapes in it and tires are halfway bald, they're buying that car $4,000 to $5,000 less than a really nice one. So they're able to advertise that car. They're not really expecting to sell it. They just want to get you into the dealership and then switch you to a car that's a higher grade car, which of course is also comes with a higher price ticket. At Frontier Motors, what we strive to do is get the better conditioned car, the lower mileage car, or the car with the most content as far as equipment, and still price it as low as possible. And the way that we can do that is because we don't have a franchise. We don't have a multi-million-dollar mausoleum. Our overhead is as low as possible. Our insurance is as low as possible. Our taxes are as low as possible because we don't have the big building. And we did that on purpose. When we came to Pensacola 20 years ago, we wanted to go to Car City. We wanted to get a big dealership, and because it just looks so cool when you have a big dealership. But I got sticker shock. Even back then, I'm talking 20 years ago, a decent building was $1 million, and that's without having to renovate it and fix it up. We bought our place for $105,000 and fixed it up, probably put about $15,000 to $20,000 into it. And we've grown throughout. We started with 30 cars in inventory. I just checked the computer. We have 393 cars in inventory. It's really interesting because I have this article out of Automotive News that says that the average number of new car sales per dealership last year rose almost 5% to an average of 80 units a month. So last year, the average new car dealership sold 80 units a month. Last month, we sold 298 units. That was most of our inventory. We turned almost all the inventory. And the reason I'm bringing that up, folks, is that to sell that many cars, you've got to be doing something right. These are not people that are just driving by that happen to pop in at Frontier Motors. Most of our customers, 70% of them are repeat and referral customers, and that's unheard of in the used car industry. It's not unheard of in a new car industry. If you find a new car dealership, let's say you have a Chevrolet dealership you like doing business with, you've been doing business with them for 30 years, you're going to go back every time you get a car. You're going to go back and buy that one particular dealership, the one particular salesman. But in the used car industry, people just go wherever the car is. If you're looking for a $10,000 Honda, you Google it and you find a $10,000 Honda, and that's where you go. And that's why it's unheard of in the used car industry to have customers that actually come back time after time after time. Now, why would they come back to us? Well, one reason is because they know they're going to get a fair deal. They know they're not going to sit there and have to negotiate. We're not going to play those goofy games where we hit the price really, really high and then we go really, really low by the time you hit the door. We don't play those games. We give you a fair price right off the bat. We do a lot of research and we tell you that if you're not sure if it's a good deal or not, go shop around. But we already do our research when we give you the price to make sure we have the best deal. And if it's not the lowest price in town, it's going to be the nicest car, the nicest color, the lowest miles, the most equipment, and the best condition. And that's really what people are looking for. It doesn't necessarily have to be the least expensive one. It just has to be the nicest one. So it takes more time for us to actually buy the cars at Frontier Motors than it takes to sell the cars. I kind of joke a little bit with my salespeople that I don't think they sell cars at all. I think customers come in, they pick out a car, the salesman gives them a price, and you sign up. That's not selling a car. That's a customer buying a car. And I have a price sheet right here, which we give every one of our customers if they want, that lists every car. It lists the book value, the NADA book value, and lists our asking price and also lists our discounted price. By the way, if you want to join us,
by all means, give us a call. Would you like to get the price of a car or a truck or an SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in? Call us right now. Got about 15 minutes left in this edition of Talk at 10 here on News Talk 1370 WCOA Pensacola. It's the Frontier Motor Show with Ivan Streckel. Give us a call, 478-3116.
The other thing that we help the people in the Pensacola area when we talk about advice, one of the big things that we can help you with, that if you get into an accident and somebody rams into you, your car has damage that's been repaired now by the insurance company. People always wonder, well, what does that do to my value of my car? They never used to care before. I'm talking years ago, but ever since they got Carfax and AutoCheck, which are history reports, and it shows up on the history report, people say, well, everybody knows the commercials. Get the Carfax, get the Carfax, get the Carfax. You know, they've got a great campaign that they've done for years and years where people come in and say, I want to see the Carfax. Well, number one, folks, at Frontier Motors, a Carfax is in every glove box of every one of our cars. So you can just check the glove box. We unlock every car every morning, by the way, so you don't have to get a key. You can open the glove box and look at the Carfax, and they'll tell you where the car was born, where it was raised, where it was housed, how many titles were issued, has it ever been an accident, has it ever had flood damage. All these things are on there. When the car was originally delivered, does it have any warranty left? These are all the things that you find out by doing a history report. So what we do is, because of the history reports, if your car has been in an accident, you now have what we call in the car business diminished value. That means your car is worth less because it's been an accident. Now, how much less is it? Is it a formula? It's not a formula. It's an opinion. It's our opinion, because we appraise cars every day, hundreds of cars, that when we appraise a car that's been in a major accident, how much less is it worth now? So we put a dollar amount on that, which is our opinion. But what we do different at Frontier is we put it in writing, we sign it. So you have something to go back to the insurance company with and say, and Frontier Motors said my car's worth $3,000 less. We had one the other day that was worth $5,000 less because it was major accident reported. Airbags were deployed. The vehicle had to be towed. What is that? And it was a newer type vehicle. What does that do to the value of the vehicle? Well, it kills it, of course. How am I going to sell that car if you decide to trade it in? There's only one way. It better be a bargain. It better be a really good bargain. And you should get a check for diminished value to offset the fact that your vehicle now has less of a value. And that doesn't mean you have to trade it right then and there. You might not trade it for 3 or 4 years, but you're still going to have diminished value. The only time that you wouldn't have diminished value is if you kept the car for 15 years and the vehicle was the accident was 15 years ago. Well, that's not that big of a deal. So you can't come to me, on a car that had an accident 7 years ago and say, hey, I want some diminished value. I want to let it diminish value. The other thing we also can do for you, folks, is what if the car was totaled? Don't accept the check from the insurance company until you call Frontier Motors. Get our opinion of what they should give you based on the NADA retail. Plus, don't forget they have to pay you taxes. Some people forget about that. If the retail is $10,000 and you walk into a dealership after you got your $10,000 check, you can't go home with $10,000. You got to pay 7% tax. So you got to pay about another $700 in tax. You have to buy a new title, and you have to transfer your tag, which you shouldn't have to pay for. The insurance company should pay for that. The only thing they won't pay for are like an electronic title fee, a dock fee, a get-ready fee, a wash-up fee, a rust-proofing fee, things like that. That comes out of your pocket if you have to collect that. The other thing we talk about a little bit is what's going on in industry, which car is a good car, bad car. We already talked about a little bit that the average dealership, new car dealership last year sold 80 cars a month. But that doesn't sound like a lot, which is really not a lot. But when you consider how many franchises there are, it adds up. Matter of fact, last year they had a record year. 17.5 million new cars were sold last year. Now, why do I get so excited about them selling that many new cars, even though I sell the alternative to new? Well, today's new car is tomorrow's used car. I don't sell new cars. I only sell used cars. I take advantage of a person when they lose money on a car they bought last year. Consumers Report says in the first year of ownership, you lose 27% of the value. In the first year. Last year, the average selling price of a new car was $34,000. If you multiply that, that comes to $9,180 depreciation in the first year. Now, if I bought that car $9,180 less, even if I marked it up $3,000, you still save $6,180 on one-year-old car over the price, not over the list price of a new one, over the discounted price of the new one. They call that transaction price. That's a big deal, isn't it? If I marked it up $2,000, you'd save $7,200 on a one-year-old car. The type of cars that we're talking about are not cars that have 60,000 miles on them. I'm talking about cars that have very low miles on them. Cars like the 16 Highlander, which I believe we just wrote a deal on. I talked about this last week. It had 2 miles on it. Somebody drove it. My computer says it has 32 miles on it now. Excuse me. And that's a 16 Highlander with 32 miles on it. Now, that's extremely low. We also have a 16 Grand Caravan with 150 miles on it. We have multitude of cars that have under 5,000 miles, under 10,000 miles, and under 20,000 miles. And, of course, they all come with factory warranty. So what we do at Frontier Motors is we sell the alternative to new. We have somebody else lose their butt on that car. It doesn't have to be you. Have somebody in Atlanta or Orlando do that. Have them lose the money. And if you're thinking about buying a new car, why not stop at Frontier Motors and just check out some 2016 used models that when you open the door, they still have the new car smell. They still have the books in the glove box. They still look like brand new. There's no dings. There's no scratches. There's no paint work. Clean history reports. And thousands of dollars less than a new one. I don't know why everybody wouldn't do that. The amount of money that you could save, you could send a kid to college over time of money if you put it away and invest it. Some of the savings are extreme. I just sold a Jaguar, which had an $87,000 window sticker. I sold it 2 weeks ago for $55,000. It had 9,000 miles on it. 55, 65, 75, 85. Folks, that's $3,700 less than a new one. 37,000, not 100. $37,000. Now, that's extreme. I've got a Corvette that we drove to the show here. It's a Stingray. It has 9,200 miles on it. It's an LT2 with navigation, heads-up display, the Z51 performance package. Window sticker was $70,000. I can sell it for $56,000. That's $14,000 less than a brand new one. So if you're thinking about buying new, why not stop at Frontier Motors?
And by all means, give us a call. Would you like to speak with Ivan Streckel directly? We can arrange that. You dial 478-3116. Did you get it? 478-3116. That's our regular call-in number. Frontier Motors is located at 230 Beverly Parkway. We're located here, but this is a combination radio and TV show today. We would be happy here at News Talk 1370 WCOA to connect you with Ivan Streckel. This is Talk at 10, the Frontier Motor Show. Again, our phone number, at least for the next 15 minutes or so, 478-3116.
Consumers Report came out with a kind of a cool article about customer satisfaction, and they talked about the most satisfying cars by brand when they did thousands and thousands, actually it was hundreds of thousands of surveys. I think total it was over 1 million surveys they sent out. And they have different categories of cars. But for example, in the luxury compact car, which is small luxury, the Audi A3 had an 80% customer satisfaction. The Mercedes-Benz had 74%. If you look at small compact cars, the Honda Fit was number one. 77% of the people would buy another one. And the number 2 car was a Fiat 500, which is not really recommended by Consumers Reports, but they still said that 69%, just about 70% of the people would buy another Fiat 500, which is not rated very high when it comes to reliability, but rated very good when it comes to customer satisfaction. So it's really interesting that just because the reliability isn't that good, people still really like the car. Don, do we have a call?
This is Pete on the line for you, Ivan.
Hey, Pete, thanks for calling the Frontier Motor Show. How can we help you?
I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I got an '07 Lincoln with about 93,000 on it.
All right. Is it a town car?
I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah, it's a town car.
Okay.
It's it's the old shape of the of the Lincolns.
Yeah, the last of the big bodies. I had to trade mine in some
Don,
years ago.
Dan had one of those.
Yep.
And how many miles do you have on it, Pete?
93,000.
And is it a signature or an executive, you know?
Good night. I don't know.
Does it have a sunroof?
It's got a sunroof.
Okay, all right. So it's probably going to be a signature, which is the one in the middle. They make a limited, an executive, and signature. Tell me the miles again.
93,000.
Okay.
07.
2007. Okay. The book value is actually surprisingly not that bad. Retail, it has actually a 1,300 mileage ad, Pete, because 93,000 for a car that's 9 years old is actually low miles. And the mileage ad is $1,300. So it says that retail is 10.1. And loan value, which is supposed to be wholesale, is $6,900. So that's using the NEDA guidebook. I would say that if you sold this car yourself, you're probably going to get somewhere around $9,000 for it. This is my opinion. And I think on a wholesale basis, on a dealership lot, you're probably going to get a trade-in value of somewhere between 6 and 7.
So if I brought it to you, obviously, if it needs a little bits and pieces, whatever, somewhere around 9,000.
Yeah. Well, that's when I say 9,000, that's if you sold it yourself. That's what I would consider would be retail. The book retail is 10.1, but the book retail on Lincoln's a little exaggerated. That's why I think that if you put the car on Craigslist or put it on Auto Trader, I think a good price would be $89.95 is what you'd get. If you came to a dealership, you'd get somewhere between that $6,000 and that $7,000 range if they wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate your help.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for calling the show. And the way it works, folks, I appraise vehicles all day long without seeing them. Some of these dealerships, I had a customer the other day, they had a car on consignment. It was a 16 model CX-5 Mazda. Mm-hmm. It had 3,000 miles on it. He was going to trade it at a new car dealership. He decided, I don't want the Mazda anymore. So he had it on consignment for a little while. And I didn't sell it. So he said, I think I'm going to trade it in. And he wanted a new car. He obviously bought a brand new. It's got 3,000 miles on it. He didn't like it. It was too small. And he said, I'm going to go trade it at a new car dealership. And he said, they gave me a good deal on a car that I was looking at. And I said, how much are they going to give you for your car? He said, they got to see it. I says, it's got 3,000 miles on it.
What do they got to see?
They don't have to see it. They could just say if there's anything wrong with it, we'll deduct. Just like Pete here with this town car. I can tell him that the town car's got a wholesale value probably around $6,000 less reconditioned. He had mentioned that there's a couple little things that are wrong with it. Well, no big deal. We'll just deduct for him. If it needs tires, we'll deduct $500 or $600 for tires. Our area being Orlando and St. Pete and Tampa, New Orleans, Atlanta. That's our area. 25,000 cars I had to choose from. And when they put them on the auction sites, they all have pictures. So I pick out what I consider the best looking ones, the ones with the best condition reports, the ones with the most equipment. And I've got to weed through thousands of cars to also get that car at the right price. So everything has to jive. It doesn't always. A lot of times the car is beautiful. One owner. I've done the research. If I pay up for it, I should pay no more than $25,000, and some dealer pays $28,000 for it. That's too much. So I have to start over. But that's really how it works in the car business. We go to the auction. And the auction, by the way, when we buy cars at auction, people say, well, do you buy cars at auction? Think it's a negative thing. Actually, it's a good thing. The reason is because the auction guarantees the cars. So if I buy a car, I think the cutoff is 6 or 7 years. If I buy a car at a certain amount of miles, the green light goes on. And when the green light goes on, that means it's guaranteed. I don't have to worry about flood damage. I don't have to worry about major accidents. I don't have to worry about odometer problems or lemon law buybacks. That's all guaranteed that they're going to announce that if it's like that. Great place to buy a car because there's no guarantee in life. There's no guarantee if you buy a car 2 doors down from you that the car is a good car, bad car. And once you buy it, it's yours. At Frontier Motors, all of our cars come with a warranty. If you buy a 2008 or newer, if it has less than 100,000 miles on it, you get a 5-year, 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty. 5 years, 100,000. If you buy a car that's got over 100,000 miles on it, you still get a 3-month warranty. And any car over 150,000 miles, you still get a 1-month warranty. If you go to a dealership and they mark their cars as is, they don't even have enough confidence to give you any warranty, you might want to walk out. If you go to a dealership that won't put the price in writing and won't add all the taxes and all the what I call garbage fees in there, I'd walk out. We give you an out-the-door figure on the car that you're looking at Frontier Motors. So if you look at a car and say, I really like this car, I want to think about it. We'll give you the out-the-door figure, trade-in value, one figure. That's all you have to remember. So that way, if you go to the competition, have them give you that figure. You'll be amazed how many dealerships won't do that. They won't play the game. And I don't call it a game. I think it's a good way to compare. Don't worry about the list price. Don't worry about the trade-in. Don't worry about all the garbage fees. Who cares? Who cares if they got a $1,000 dock fee? The only thing that's important is what's their out-the-door figure. The way we sold our Highlander, I had a customer last week that says, your Highlander is as much as a new one. Well, Saturday we sold it because our bottom line figure after the trade-in was way cheaper than a brand new one. Our car had 30 miles on it. That's just an example of how we can make life easy when you're in the car market. Frontier Motors located at 230 Beverly Parkway. We've been there going on 20 years now. We have 393 cars in inventory. We're open until 6 o'clock at night, 4 o'clock on Saturday. We're closed on Sundays. We would love the opportunity to buy your car from you. I can't stress that enough. If you're going to buy a new car somewhere, and I can't talk you out of it, even if I can save you $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000, the least you can do is let us write you a check for yours. Make that car shopping experience a pleasant one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Looking for the best car, SUV, or truck? Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead country.